because I'm like, bro, are you doing on YouTube? Instagram don't pay no money, and TikTok barely pay any money. But YouTube, we had when we went out to Richard DeBerry's spot the other day,
Yeah.
45,000 people watched that thing. So for every 1,000 view you get paid $8. So on the lives on YouTube, especially when y'all got puppies, y'all need to just leave a phone on. And we're doing it probably about an hour a day, like just letting it ride. We look up. He's like, damn, 20,000 people watch that thing. And it counts on YouTube versus the bullshit when we see it on Instagram or whatnot.
Got you.
Yeah, so get on it, man. They'll jump in here in a second, but either way it goes, it'll last. And I'm gonna start creating thumbnails for this shit. So one of the things I wanted to jump into with you, because I know you just as candid as I am, man. I'm getting, as you know, every time you put out something good or people like what you're doing or hate what you're doing, they get back to that famous question. How do I start breathing? And I go, I don't know who told you anybody should breathe. This shit is full. You almost start feeling dumb after a little bit with how much money you lose, man. What would be a reason you encourage somebody to start breathing?
Create your own vision.
Keep going, man. Keep going. It got to be more than just vision because most niggas don't have vision, especially when they don't got a plan.
Yeah, I would imagine. Most people just fall into breeding. That would be my assumption for the most part.
Yeah.
And they don't do it on purpose. They like the dog that they bought, and I wish I could make another ego. You know what I mean? I wish I could make another cornstarch. That's
Yeah.
kind of how it. That's how it. Literally, that's how it starts, and then it becomes an addiction.
Trying to get it right or just create more dogs.
Well, not necessarily create more dogs. Trying to create the ultimate dog inside here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, the to me, the passion of breeding dogs is getting what I see in here to be physical. You know what I mean?
No, I get it. I get it. I get it. Well, then that goes back to, what is the basic premise of a vision and how many times do people get it wrong? What I'm saying is, I know we can get into great detail about, dog repossessions, people who thought they wanted to start, didn't realize it was too much work.
Yeah.
They realized it was way too much work and it wasn't going to come easy. It wasn't a quick payday. It was like, damn, I'm fucking this up and this is costing me more money. What would be your motivation to identifying that vision and sticking to it? Because outside of you and Sin City Pits, that's one dude that I've seen where I saw a good portion of his dogs. They all look the same, and he said he stayed true to the cause versus getting caught up in even the bully side of things.
Well, the hard part is, I believe that when we start breeding dogs, we, in theory, had an idea of what we wanted, but then as we get closer, we keep pushing the finish line further and further out.
Yeah, and walk them through that too, because I know people like 130-pound dogs along with big fucking 26-inch heads. What's the issue with that, man? What are some of the problems you face when you start pushing those attributes too far?
You get breathing issues. I mean, you get with large heads. I mean, it could be a multitude of different things, but the biggest issue a lot of times when they have all that muscle right here in their cheek, it constricts their breathing sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the more extreme you go, always remember the more extreme you go, it's going to be an issue. You know what I mean? So that's just like in humans. The more your body, you work out, the more you get like this. You see them big motherfuckers trying to scratch their
Hey,
backs like this.
it's a real thing. People don't understand that muscle actually creates more restrictions, especially when you've not mastered stretching and flexibility. So Pilates and yoga become in like Ronnie Coleman was a guy who got down to 5%, 300 pounds, and could still do the splits. 9 out of 10 people that big at the time when he was like rocking are never
Mhm.
gonna be able to do that, man. Are
Well,
never.
now that motherfucker can't even shit.
He can't barely stand up on a good foot, and that's a shame, but it's reality of things, right?
Yeah.
It is.
I
It is.
mean, once you push the envelopes, as a lot of people don't understand. Once you push the envelope, I was taught 25 years ago that my eye would change, my vision in my head would change, and I used to tell them, "Yeah, all right, you're just old." You know what I mean? Honestly, that's what I would tell them. But now, 25 years later, my finish line of extreme, it's dialed back some. You know what I mean? Rockies is probably as far as I'm ever gonna go.
Yeah, and that's a great looking dog, man. He's one that I really do uh definitely like looking at, man. I like Rocky a lot. And this person, what's more important when trying to create a look, phenotype or genotype? What's your opinion on that?
To me, I look at the dog. His pedigree only tells me what should be there. That's what I tell people. A lot of people in your world, in the American bully world, they'll say 17 times Dax. Well, the motherfucker look like wax, but the damn sure don't look like Dax. So, we'll just take that for an example. When you have a dog that looks like Dax, you can use the words phenotype and genotype. You know what I mean? But if you don't have the dog that looks the part, his paperwork is pointless. You know what I mean? Because he does not look like his pedigree. And the other thing is the other thing that people have to understand is just because he is that pedigree, don't expect to get out of it unless his siblings, at least half of his siblings, carry some of those traits. Because if he's the one off, if he's the anomaly, he won't reproduce it more than likely. More than likely, there is that very slim chance that he does. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy. I was telling somebody that about even when Fabian did the Razor's Edge slash Remy line. I said the Razor's Edge was such a concentrated idea. By the time he got Remy, it was easier to be consistent because he didn't have to do all the pedigree work, all the footwork to throw that dog more regularly than others.
Well, it's not only that. You say the word Remy, right? We'll just use Remy line like you're talking about. Remy line wasn't a line, it was two Razor's Edge dogs bred together that he created a line from, which is all respect due. And he created dogs that looked very similar based off of that one dog. Same thing they've
Mhm.
done off Dax. And, you can do that. I mean, people, you literally study how he bred the dog and you can do the exact same thing. You know what I mean? And he made it a line by saying Remy line, and 2 and 3 generations later, he still had the same look, which was impressive.
So, how long in your experience does it actually take for someone to actually build a bloodline? Like, what's the process when you buy two dogs from two different people and you breed them, or you buy a female and you use the other female, or use a male from outside source? At what point do you start locking in traits? What generation to actually breed a dog or get the dog in your head per se?
Um, that's a tough question because I mean, you his work is generation one. So what I tell people, generation one, all right, you did a good job. You made some nice dogs. And all right, let me see if you can do it step two, generation two. All right, you did it step two. All right, now you're on a roll. Step one and step two are normally your easiest because you either watered something down or you made it better. You know what I mean? Or you know what I'm saying? So either you got lucky step one. I tell people a lot of people get lucky on step one. You take a dog like some of them XLs you be seeing.
Yeah.
No, they're 140, 150 pounds. And then somebody makes a nice dog that's 19 inches tall and 115 pounds. All he did was water it down. So he made it a little tighter and a little smaller package. Now, maintaining size, it all depends. Like, this is a very broad question. So it can't just be one answer. You can't just
Well,
answer
let's
it once.
stick to the oldie then, man. Because I mean, when people ask me about the pit bull or if it's a pit or if it's a bully, I say, listen, a pit has 200 years of history. It's 66 pounds. It's this tall. That's it. That's all. I said when you do start talking about the American bully and putting all these parts together that they're still putting together, as we can see variations of ideas throughout the ring, even and definitely online. You go, what are the traits you're trying to lock in? I know one of the books that you and I that I found at Show House that I definitely bought talked about dominant recessive traits. So when you start locking in traits, is it generation 2, 3, or is it how the dog's pedigree and how that dog was bred, or is it generation 6 where you say, I know I'm gonna get this every time, just based on the things that you've locked in over the 20 plus years of work?
So I don't have anything exactly locked in, and the reason why is because I always push the envelope. It's like, all right, well, cool, I'm close, but I want it to be a little bit healthier next time. And every time you go after the health, you do for some reason you lose less dog. I don't know what it is, man. I wish it wasn't that way, but every time I go after better hips or better breathing, I end up with less dog.
When you say
And
less dog, what does that mean?
we'll take Rocky for an example. You've seen him; he's 102 pounds right now,
Yeah.
and so say I bred him to make healthy dogs that could, be able to run 1 mile at a good pace and had good hip scores. I turned that 102-pound dog into 85 pounds. Like I lost 20 pounds. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it happens. And every time I've tried to do it, I've always done it. You know what I mean? I've lost dog. I can't gain dog and get healthier for some reason.
Interesting. And that's because even if you take two of the same size dogs or the same looking dogs to each other, you'll turn around and you create more problems versus solving
No,
them.
I'm not saying more problems. Like remember I brought the two American Bulldogs because they had great hip scores, all their health testing checked out. I bred him and I got a small dog. Yeah, and I bred him to an 85-pound dog, and the son that I kept out of him, I'd be happy if he hit 75 pounds. So he's less dog. He's gonna be less dog than both parents.
Oh, and they weren't super big, but they
No,
were.
he was 95 pounds. I mean, he's 95 pounds. I said, well, it's like he's still alive. He's 95 pounds. And she was 85 pounds. And sometimes when you use certain bloods, you don't get what they call hybrid vigor. You don't get that explosion of those genes to make a bigger, thicker dog. You know what I mean?
Hybrid vigor is the term that one needs to study then, because those are the cases where you get almost freak of natures per se, especially if it's consistent
Yeah.
across the board.
Yeah. So, there's a few different ways of I think there's a few different breeding schemes. When I say schemes, it's best uncle to best niece. I think that's how it goes. Some people do the F1, make an F2, then they do it. Like I was trying to tell you, sometimes first generation and second generation will tell me something, but sometimes it won't. When you take an American Bulldog and you breed to an English Bulldog 2 times in a row, not the exact same two, but and then you breed it back together, you just basically made F1 the F1. So it's still an F1, you know what I mean?
Ah,
So it's kind of a complicated answer. So for me to tell people uh, phenotype versus genotype, I'm probably not the person to ask because I breed the dog in front of me. I'm a firm believer. And what I was trying to get to about Remy made that pedigree popular. Not the dogs. I mean, Blaze, he had a brother named Blaze. You see what I'm saying? And no one really knew. I mean, people knew who Blaze was out in Cali, but he wasn't as popular as, say, Remy was. Uh, Miyagi's pedigree wasn't worth anything until Miyagi made it popular. Dax's pedigree wasn't worth anything until Dax became popular. You see what I'm saying?
oh yeah.
So people don't have people if they would breed the dog in front of them. The pedigree just tells you if you're going to get shitty breathing, if you're going to get hyper dogs, if you're going to get tall dogs, if you're going to get short dogs, if you're going to get what I mean. And even the pedigree is not going to tell you everything, but it's going to give you an idea. For an example, I knew that my son and my daughter with Gina, we can pretty much guarantee they were going to have brown eyes because she has brown eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and just certain traits get passed on because of just because of the genes. My white beard didn't pass on to my kids. You know what I mean? Because this isn't genetic.
That is interesting, man. Well, I know that people get caught up, especially in the American Bully world, about starting their own bloodline. And I've talked to various other breeders and with the Dobermans and the Rottweilers, and I said, what is the trick? So I'm asking you the same thing. What is the trick to breeding an oldie correctly? If somebody was going to get into the oldie bulldogs, follow your lead per se, what would be the first step to the third at least that they would do to properly breed an oldie so they don't box themselves in, don't create more problems, and actually help grow the breed?
Here's what I tell anybody who wants to get into the oldies. I implore them to go and find a dog that they think is just majestic in our breed, and start there. That's what I tell them. Like it don't got to be me, because our breed is quite vast in looks. We can go anywhere down to a damn near English bulldog, all the way up to a bull mastiff looking thing, and some of them look heavy American. So you just have to find. I tell people to find what they prefer, what's their twist, and I think Odie's has such a vast. Uh, I don't know how you can word it, but so many different looks in our breed, which is a bad and a good thing. You know what I mean? I'll be honest. It's a bad thing at sometimes, but it's also a good thing because we can cover so many different bases. Um, and I just tell people, hey, listen, if you like a little bit more English bulldog, this is who I would recommend. If you like a little bit more American bulldog, this is who I'd recommend. If you want a little bit more bull mastiff, this is who I would recommend. You know what I mean? This is what I tell people. I don't shun away from anybody. I don't tell anybody good or bad. I just tell them that, hey, you like that style? The guy who has that is so and so. That's all I do. I don't say bad because, the thing is about our breed, it's subjective. And a lot of people think that I'm full of shit when I tell them that because our our basis of a bulldog is large head, broad chest, and robust. So if you ask me what robust is, and you ask, fuck, I think we've had this conversation before, but
Yeah.
we asked Jamarcus what robust is, and we asked you what robust is. His answer is going to be a description of you. You ain't going to describe his little ass.
No. No.
You're going to describe somebody bigger, thicker, and faster than you.
Very much so.
So, when we're looking at the oldie standard, it says that they're supposed to be robust. They're supposed to be stout. They're supposed to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well sprung in the rib cage. For somebody who's 5'5" and weighs 135 pounds, you are the walking definition of everything I just said to them.
Mm-hmm.
Stan and you. And you see what I'm saying? Stan's going to describe you, where you're going to describe somebody that's a middle linebacker off the motherfucking Cowboys.
Hey, somebody, yeah, that part right there. So the trick then to getting into the oldie world, and again, somebody had reached out, as I told you earlier on the phone, and was just super excited about the videos that we put out and the work, and wanting to learn more about the breed, and they clearly wasn't as informed as they thought they were about all dog breeds. I think it's a fun thing when you get to go learn about new breeds and highlight people who really love what they're doing and putting some magic out there and together. And let me ask you this too: Are you going to be able to recreate or create more Rockies?
Yeah, I'm getting there.
How far are you away from being able to replicate that idea? 20 more times even.
Well, I don't want to completely replicate him. I want to give him more of a bulldog muzzle per se. I'm not saying he's not a bulldog. That's not what I'm saying. But what people, when they close their eyes and they see a bulldog muzzle, it's square like this guy's and fat with a little bit of a wrinkle sometimes, or just very fat and broad. His is kind of like, it is a little bullyish. So he has no loose lips. He doesn't have any excess skin around his face. It's super
Hey,
tight.
that Joker got some tight skin, boy. For a bulldog, I've never that motherfucker like this. It's like he got a helmet on, just that motherfucker like this.
Yeah. So the only thing, I got the body. He's throwing this body religiously for me. The good rears, the muscle, the upper arm, everything I needed from him. He's doing it. I just gotta fix the head a little bit, and the only way you're ever gonna get it is, people say, which one do you prefer, phenotype or genotype? I'm gonna take a Rocky daughter and breed it to Rocky's brother. So I'm gonna double down. Sometimes
That's still just an uncle to a niece, though.
that's what they recommend so there isn't no, a lot of people will tell you it's their grand idea where they say uncle to niece. That ain't their grand idea. It came straight out of a book for horses. So it wasn't nothing more than somebody who wrote it down for horses a long time ago, and they just regurgitated it. And that's kind of what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and see what happens. And then I'll take it back to the mom's brother just to, run it home one more time. It has nothing to do with Rocky. It's just the mom that I used. It was a Kaiser kid. So I'm going to take that and run it all the way back. But
So
yeah.
a brother would become a great uncle?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Look, no, trust me. I've mapped, and of course with you guys, with your help, people, for those that have watched and follow Fit Bully TV, and I'm getting more messages regularly about the stuff you guys are kind of going back and watching and learning from Chris and all the conversations he and I have had as he breaks it down in the simplest format. It's like if you can mix and match these few things and pay attention to the top three things, you got three things you can pull from. Look at that. Yeah, that boy looking good, boy.
We just took these pictures.
Yeah, and plus I've held him and seen him live, so I mean, got a chance to put a little video together. So Rocky, I'm telling you right now, that boy tough. That boy is tough, and I'm not even one with like I never lean into the admiration of dogs, but Chris has got some bulldogs that I'm telling you, even the people that I know that message me like I don't like bulldogs, but I like Chris Morris, boy. He'd fuck around have me getting a bulldog, boy.
I think we had somebody that bought one from us because of that. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh
oh
yeah.
man, I just want. I seen you on Trevor's. I want one. You know what I mean? All right,
Like, I bet. No,
I'll sell
but
you.
that's the beauty about highlighting people like yourself who really take it serious, but even more importantly, are very concerned with, what you're putting out there, how it's represented, and then I know you've gone above and beyond and making sure that the dogs, if something does go wrong, you're willing to, kind of take them back per se, which goes
Oh
back to
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
long term commitment. I try to tell everybody like, yo, this ain't no fucking PlayStation. They ain't gonna sit in the corner. You turn on when you want. This is a living, breathing thing that's gonna take 10 years of your life on average, 8 to 10, if not more, for a healthy dog. And if you ain't got 10 years in you, I wouldn't recommend getting one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, shit. Ocean's 8 still kicking.
Oh shit, that motherfucking ocean's still rocking, huh?
Hey, he literally, bro. You can't even tell he's missing a beat, man.
I love it, bro. Look, Chris has got some good bulldogs, people, and that's why I told him. I said, look, I'd be willing to work. I always thought I wouldn't. I tell you this. I told you this before. I for sure ain't get no damn presser. That ain't happening. They never gonna talk me into that one. Them niggas is too damn big. That's
Well,
just
it's not
too.
even that. To me, presses, man. They are big, but man, there's some fucking. They can be assholes, man.
They are. They are. They are. They
I mean,
are.
not all of them, because I've seen a lot of nice ones, but man, the majority of them can be assholes, and not necessarily in a bad way. You know what I mean? Just like, get off me, fool. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Not even like being ugly. You know, be like, hey, get the fuck off me. Why you touch me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They act like that.
Yeah, so that's another thing to be mindful of, people. Some of you don't know this, but there are certain shows where, like, for instance, if you got a Dogo Argentino, there are certain judges that are not supposed to like touch their mouths and stuff. Some of them breeds, they
I
ain't
don't touch
designed.
XLs. I don't touch XLs mouse.
See what I'm saying?
I don't.
Some of them,
I don't touch American Bulldog mouse. I don't touch Cane Corso mouse, and I don't touch XL mouse.
and why is that?
No, I'm good. I'm quick, but sometimes they quicker. You know what I mean? So you
Hold
got to
on.
think of it. Look of it like this. You got a 100-pound dog, and me and you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're holding the dog, and I'm checking the dog. You got 100 pounds, so you go kind of slack when you're going to showing the bite, and I'm in there, and the leash is slacked. Next thing I know, he's leaning, he lunged at me, and you ain't got no recourse. You ain't got no way to protect yourself. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
cool. I don't.
Look.
You show me the bite. Show me the bite.
That makes sense too. But those are certain breeds again that you got to just be a little cognizant of, especially if the owners haven't done tons of desensitization work and just hands-on whatever. You'd be surprised how many people think their dog is cool until it's not. Like,
Well,
yo,
I mean, you got to think this. This is what I always tell everybody. I have when I judge, I have people come in and I can tell, bro. I'm telling you, they be like this, bro. They be having the leash. That thing be like this. They be shivering. I'll be like, listen, calm down, please calm down,
please,
because you're not gonna be the one to get bit. It's gonna be me because your dog is, protecting you because he sees the fear in you.
yeah, that hey,
I understand. He doesn't understand that there's different types of fear. He just knows that there's fear involved. And what you doing to my owner?
all that little stuff goes a long way. So, what is an oldie? How would you describe an oldie in its ability to go and impact a person's home? So, like you just talked about the American XL Bully right now gets some. It's up and down. Sometimes they're good dogs. Sometimes the dogs are tearing somebody's arm off. Literally, I get sent the videos.
I don't think that's the case, though, man. I mean, you got to look at the population. You know what I mean? When you're doing these, anything like that. Anytime you're doing a statistic like that, you've got to look at the population. We'll just take a very rare breed and see how many times they bite somebody. You know what I mean? And it's like slim to none. And then you have something like a Chihuahua where they fucking bite every single day, but they don't get reported. Why? Because it just he, he just bit him. He's all right. He'll be okay. You know what I mean? Where when 100-pound dog attacks somebody, it normally does some fucking damage.
Facts, bro. It'll trying to accidentally put his tooth through my whole hand one time because he missed the pillow, and I'm talking it was a straight indentation of a tooth mark. He's
So I mean, that's what I get people to understand. And anything over 70 pounds, I don't care if you're a 200-pound man that works out every day.
that part right there. The walk.
And that's what people don't understand. So when you're taking you say an XL bullies is this, that, and the third. Like, I don't think so. I think you have your 1 or 2 incidents a year, and then the population, say it's 1 million dogs, and you have 1 or 2 incidents. That's actually pretty good. You're gonna have your isolated incidents. Where bulldogs, we don't really have that many big of incidents because they're just, I mean, they're defensive style dogs. They're not prey. They're not prey orientated dogs.
Yeah,
So a lot of times you see more. Most dogs bite out of fear. I mean, obviously working with Stan, you know that now.
very much so,
And
man.
and if you don't know the signs of a fearful dog, if you get bit, it's your own stupidity. That's kind of how I feel. You know what I mean? You see that some bitch hackling, and he backing up. They don't either fight you or they'll flight. They fight or flight. They're either going to
Taking
fight
off.
you or they're going to run. You
Yeah.
take the run away from them. What do you expect the son of a bitch to do from? You know what I mean? It's just like a human.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
and,
look,
and I and I don't think that XLs. I think they get a bad rap just because they can do so much damage. Same thing with a Cane Corso. You know what I mean? Or a Pressa. Not a Cane Corso, but a Pressa. I think they get a bad rap because they're so big and they can do so much damage and they have such a high bite force. I think they get a bad rap. You know what I mean? Just being truthfully honest. I just don't like big dogs. They're too big for me. But what's intriguing for me is when you get over 20 inches tall and you can maintain structure as well as they do. That's impressive. To me, that's the impressive part.
there you go. Well, that's look. I've seen some ones that the Berry has out there, man. They don't have slope backs. The rears are decent. I mean, they're sound. When you like, I didn't bump into one. I'm like, yo, is he good? And he's like, yeah, Urian and a couple of them ones. I didn't even like one of them until he activated. That motherfucker start barking and losing his shit. I said, oh, he's a psychopath. I'm good on that, brother. I said, how much that nigga weigh? He's about $130. And I tell you, we did the video, people, where the Bear's a big dude. Y'all know I'm not a short person. He couldn't put his whole hand around that damn dog forearm. So if that dog jump on you, like Chris said, them dogs jump on you and they start pulling and shaking. It's a different level of intent. If a Chihuahua did it, you better get the dog off me. That dog,
Yeah.
it's not happening.
Once you go over 50 pounds, you're in a different league of what a dog can do to you. 50 and under, even 50. I mean, it depends on where he bites you. He bites you in your soft spots, up and under here, underneath your thigh, the back of your calf. I can promise you're gonna scream for your mama. But you know what I'm saying? If he bites you right here, you're good. You know what I mean? It's gonna hurt, but
Yeah.
shit, 110 pounds grab you there. He gonna be pulling your ass to the ground.
So what should one expecting if they were to buy an old English bulldog? What's that living like? What's that living arrangements like? Like how does that work? Because they ask me all the time about mine, and I just say, listen, a lot of structure, a lot
Well,
of discipline.
my dogs don't. I don't have any issues. I've expanded the kennel. I have everybody in 10x10s now with really big. I got these new insulated dog houses that I found where they make them local. I love them shits. And but it's kind of. I mean, they're pretty easy. They are easy going. They should be confident and outgoing. They shouldn't be assholes like, say, a presser. Pressers they can be outgoing and a bully, but not aggressive. And that's the best way I can explain it to you. You know what I mean? They can be outgoing and just a bully, but not aggressive. Like they're not hurting anybody. They're just being bullies. Pressers are to me. Where
Hey,
oldies,
that's a good way to put it though, because even DeBerry said that when we was down there a couple weeks ago, like a week ago, literally, he was just like, this particular ones he gets, especially from the Canary Islands. He said sometimes they think they're smarter than you, so it's like kind of like the Boerboel and other dogs. You can like that little telling them what to do thing don't really work. Hey, get over there and sit down. They be like this. Well, come make me. Let's see if you got that same energy when you go and then you gotta make a choice because now you and your dog getting into it, and they don't want to hurt you if they like good dogs, but they still gonna test you because that's like any kid or person would do.
yeah, anybody. They push the envelope. That's how it is. Well, bulldogs are not like that. Bulldogs are a little bit more mild mannered, a little bit more laid back, a lot lazier than a presser. You know, um, if you keep them in pairs, they do really well. Like a boy and a girl, they do really good. I don't have any issues. I have some doubled up just because I think that they're quieter when they're with a playmate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And I didn't know that about bulldogs. So they're social creatures, is what you're saying.
Yeah, they're social. Yeah,
Interesting.
like if I let Rocky out on anybody, he'll just run right up to you and try to play with you. I mean, he don't have a mean bone in his body.
No, no, I could tell, man. He definitely is a good dog, man. And that's kind of the question I always try to answer. People say, what's your goal? So just to make good dogs, man. I don't want no body getting chewed up or no harm being done, etc. So if it's a good dog, then it means we're on to something, to say the least.
So the first question you asked me, what would I tell anybody who wants to get into breathing? I
Yeah.
think after the little bit of the conversation today, this is one of the things I would tell people. You have to ask yourself why you get into breathing. If you have that answer, you can ask yourself more questions. I can't ask you yourself. You know what I mean? Like for an example, say you want to make more dogs like Rocky. Okay, well, puppies like Rocky, even when he was a puppy, nobody wanted him. I knew he was going to be special, but he didn't have any loose skin. He was tight skinned. That's not common in a bulldog. People go to bulldogs because they want the looser skin. You know what I mean?
So
So
so for you, why did you know to choose that one, especially since that wasn't technically standard or what we call protocol? Protocol, that dog's out of he doesn't comply with what we're looking for. Like, how'd you know then to keep him?
I mean, the thing is he had a head like nothing I've ever seen. It was really round and really cheeky and super tight. Like it didn't have no loose skin. He has a brother, big old fat muzzle, looked like an English bulldog. Yeah, he looks like Rolls Royce. His brother looks like Rolls Royce.
Damn. I know
Rocky,
exactly.
he was at the Beast of the East.
Rose, no, I know what all your dogs look like.
So no. Rocky's brother was at the Beast of the East.
Oh, that one I didn't see.
Yeah.
I didn't.
So the thing is a lot of people just they don't understand that Rocky wasn't the end goal. I wanted his tight skin, his muscle, his shoulder set up. I love this. I have like a mission to see if I can keep that and fatten the muzzle. I don't think I'm going.
Hey, look. Oh, absolutely, people. And look, we'll do we got a lot of videos that we're gonna do coming out, man. Especially going into 2025, it's gonna be a crazy time for content and education. Keeping this boy from this litter, I'm gonna create some drive and have some fun with him. But hey, so you knew then. So talk about then making sure you choose the right tools because some people get so far ahead, you can get stuck it in your own way. Trying to master the one dog versus like, oh, I added another tool to the shed box, let me pull this tool out and utilize this because not every dog's gonna be perfect. But in your case, look, Rocky's a good looking dog. He won the OD class at the ABKC National last year, right?
Yeah. I
Cool.
mean, I don't know. It's hard for me to explain that one. I just, each one of us do dogs differently. And some people, they find a recipe that they prefer and they don't, they add a little bit, but it's never like far left or far right. It's like, okay, instead of 1 scoop of sugar, let me try 2 scoops and see if it's too sweet. You see what I'm saying? That's kind of how a lot of people breed. And I have no, as when I was young, again, people told me that my eye would change or my perspective would change. Now that I'm older, my perspective is starting to change. I believe how what those guys said or how they breed dogs because they do have, dogs that look 20 of them and they all look the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's if you ever did the pedigree, more than likely everything is probably related in some fashion or form. You know what I mean? And I'm getting and I'm getting back to it. You know what I mean? I was always for me with oldies, I always try to find a outcross to bring in, and so I give it 1 or 2 chances, and if it doesn't work, you'll see me get rid of the dog or get sell some of the offsprings just because it wasn't connecting to what I already have and it's not working. You know what I mean?
So you actually keep dogs for consistency purposes versus actually unique. Like, yo, if it's consistent, then these are the ones we need to hold on to.
Yeah, for an example, Rolls Royce, Rocky, um, White Zombie. There's 2 more brothers that look just like them. There was 6 brothers in the litter. They all look the same.
Yeah.
So everybody always asks me, "Hey, how did you know that Rocky would come out special?" Well, his mom is their sister, and she has 5 brothers that are amazing. So I know she could produce males. You know what I mean?
Hold
It's
on.
just
So Rocky's mom is their sister.
Rocky's mom is Rolls Royce's sister. Yes,
Ah.
it's starting to make sense now, right?
So Rolls Royce and Rocky's mom created Rocky.
Rolls Royce. No, Rolls Royce's sister, and a dog by the name of Seal. I'll show you a picture. Hold on. I don't know. I don't own Seal. He is owned by a good friend of mine named Chad Dunn. I'm trying to get the freaking picture to open.
Man, dude, this is some good information, people. Listen, I haven't got a chance. I would have been able to get down there and do some fucking videos with Chris. We had it all planned. He didn't do Beats of the East this year, man.
So look, these are siblings. They're siblings. That's a brother and a sister.
Sheesh.
I bred the sister to this boy, and that's how.
Ah.
Now you see the head where it came from, and
Yep.
with her lift. But what I kind of need to go back to is the fatness of this muzzle.
But
So
then look, when you did the fatness of the muzzle, then his head shrunk.
yeah, I mean it is. So that's the gift and the curse that people don't understand. It's hard, man, because dogs that have really tight skin, they don't, they just don't look. Their heads look 2 dimensional. You take pictures, so you understand what I mean.
Oh
It's
yeah.
hard seeing Rocky's head in a picture because it looks 2 dimensional. But when you see it in person, it's 3 dimensional. It's like, oh shit,
Yeah,
that's
that when they say block or square, people, you literally, if you was grabbing a block or a square, that's what it'd be like when you see this Joker's head in real life, like a grabbing a square or a
but I
moving
can't get a
box.
picture of it. I can't get a picture of it to send to show my life of what his head really looks like. It looks flat. Let me see a picture. We just took pictures the other day. I mean, this is a decent picture of his head, but it's not the greatest picture of his head.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, no, it does look like, man.
But it's the whole 2 dimensional slash 3 dimensional thing, and it's really hard for people to see until they see him in person. Every person that comes here be like, God damn, is he big? I'm like, yeah.
I think it fits. It's sometimes, I think with the bulldog, sometimes it's too small or too big or too abstract. I mean, he's like a complete dog. So when you see him, every proportion of him structurally, it looks like it matches like who he is, even in a sense. versus him having some double whopper with cheese head and then some small body like a bobblehead dog or something.
Yeah.
He's a good looking dog, man. And again, I'm glad I got to see him in real time. And how old is he already?
Uh, he's about to turn 3.
Okay, okay, okay. Well, guys, listen, we don't hear about this is a good 40 minutes plus, and it's been hopefully in educational and definitely informational. Chris has always given us some words to think about, definitely things to be mindful of and consider when breeding. I want to learn more about the oldie and kind of what that process looks like. I'm gonna talk to more people who mix and match things and what their thoughts were when they got to F1 and F2s. And Chris, how many F1s do you have at your house?
Probably about half of these motherfuckers. I mean, I just like that style of dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's my preference. I like that style. The heavy, heavy English is necessary, but it's not my preference. You see what I'm saying?
yeah.
Rocky's my preference, but Rolls Royce. When people see Rolls Royce in person, they literally lose their mind. I mean, completely lose their mind. Yeah.
What?
Oh, I can't. I want one of his puppies.
Listen,
Different strokes for folks, but you know what I mean? Like, not everybody's a Merle fan. You like Merle, I don't. It looks like bleach stains.
I actually am a complete color guy. So what that means is I've always wanted a dog and wanted dogs that had the same color down to their pinky toes. We, from a business standpoint, when I did the Merle thing with Ego, I said, guys, he's going to build us, get us to 300,000 plus because of the argument and all other stuff. And mind you, I never played into it. I just provided some education. But it's one of those color things where you go, it's the market, it's the business. But I love personally, I love us. I was a fan and sucker for old blues back in the day, boy. If you give me a blue down to that pinky toe, no socks, all blue. Oh
Yeah.
God, man, I was sold, boy, sold. Uh,
I'm not a huge fan of a lot of color. I like all solid suits too. That's my
oh yeah,
preference.
yeah. No, when we look at them photos where they got the most muscle and everything, you can see clearly. I want
Yeah.
that thing to look like it's something like if I come out with an all black dog, his muzzle's black, eyeballs black, call that nigga
Well,
liking
I
like.
don't even care if it's all white. I just solid suited dogs. I try to tell people as a camera person, you understand,
Oh yeah,
it's really hard taking pictures of piebald dogs because the camera doesn't know to focus on white or the other color, whatever color the other dog, color the dog is. We'll just say it's a blue dog. Your preference is blue. It's hard with the certain sunlight to focus on the white and the blue and to get all the muscle in the same sentence.
yeah, your white balance thing. So there are people, and I don't know if you've used this, but there's a ticker thing that they'll put up, check their white balance, and it's super hard outdoors because the sun itself, especially when it's bouncing off the ground, creates highlights. And so now you've got a whole highlighted photo where the white's blown out. So you got to go back into Lightroom. I've got to re-invite the white by adding actually more blacks and the blacks, and then remove the shadows just so I can see a shoulder line. You be like, fuck this, dude. So I get your plight with that too, man. I used to love a good. I had a good old brown chocolate pit bull back in the day, and she only had a little white right here. But I love a solid colored dog, man. That's
It just
eventually.
makes it easier for photos too. You know what I mean? It's a lot easier to capture what you see here in the lens.
Oh
And a
yeah,
lot of people don't understand that, dog breeding starts right there. You know what I mean? Because I'm just being honest. If I told you, hey, I have a Lamborghini for sale, what's the next question? Let me see a picture.
oh yeah. No, visual. We all eat with our eyes, people. You eat with your eyes, and it's got to smell good. And so, if we are again from a business standpoint, and I mean, I think that's another subject him and I can get into at another time. But I know people, and I say this disrespectfully, because some of them people be messaging me right now saying, "Hey man, I got a litter too, man. How you got all them people on your waiting list? Can you help me sell my dogs?" I'm like this. You couldn't help me sell my dogs. And if I didn't have a vision or be good at marketing and digital media and stuff, we wouldn't have got to the place where people were intrigued or interested or willing to sell their house to get a dog. Fool, they being funny when they say that. One nigga messaged me literally was like, "Look, I'd ask for a dog, but I think it'd be easy to get into a Diddy party, nigga. I love what you're doing. I said
Yeah.
that was gonna stick for a little bit because this is funny, but we've
Yeah.
got good support, and it just goes back to even what Chris is saying too, knowing how to shoot, knowing how to market, knowing how to build your brand. If you look at the Bulky Build brand, you need some of those scarlet colors, so you have some staples, if you would. I leaned into the working side, so if we remove Merle from a color, you say, damn, that boy ego get active, and then trying to, them niggas jumping over
Yeah.
fences, climbing trees. You go, well, my dogs don't do that. I'm like, you wouldn't get in the tree, but we'd be up in them trees and in that water and everything else.
Yeah, a lot of people they don't understand that breeding dogs is the easy part of the business.
It is. It is, believe it or not. And I know I'm right now, I'm kidding you not, just because we've got a litter, getting a lot of messages of people showing me 8 week old dogs. They got all 8 dogs still. They're like, hey, these are 8 weeks old. Ain't nobody look when the 8th day come or the 8th week or the 8th day come, within 72 hours, I'll blink and every dog will be gone out the house. This is a beautiful thing. But there are
Yeah.
people right now who got 11 puppies at their house trying to figure out how to sell them because you went breeding, didn't understand business, and now technically the dogs are gonna suffer. And trust me, when a nigga can't take care of that dog after a year because they didn't know what they was getting signing up for, you bought the hype of social media. So we don't even rush to sell them. We got an 8 week process we go through sometimes, but we go, bro, I know what if you ain't got the time, man, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. A lot of dogs end up in that damn shelter for a reason.
Well,
Because
the thing is that marketing that you do is the other half that even I don't want to do or like to do. You know what I mean? Like that's the honesty. That's the honesty in it. Where if you sell dogs faster than me, it's because you did more work than me. That's the thing that people don't want to admit to themselves. You outworked me. One, two, I might have outproduced you or made better dogs, been doing it longer, but that don't matter for shit when it comes to social media these days. You know what I mean?
no, no,
You
not at
know what I
all,
mean?
man.
Shit, I don't even know what a short is half the time. They'd be like, I was watching shorts. I'm like, all right, what did you like about them? I'm thinking they talking about actual shorts.
No, 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 no. They talking about the
Yeah, but
shorts.
that's what I'm saying. Like, people get upset. A lot of the older guys, they get upset where, oh man, how can he sell dogs so fast and I can't? Well, he on social media, and you don't want to be on social media.
And
I
even
don't
now,
want to be on social media. You know what I mean? And I can't be mad at if you sell dogs faster than me.
I would tell you to tell them this too, Chris, though, because a young man, he asked me that a couple days ago. He said, man, how do you stay at it so much? I said, I wrote down a goal bigger than I think my eyeballs can eat, but I think I know how to get there. And I focused every day until we get to go. So every time you wake up, I'm gonna be right there. Even right now, it's 9:34. I'm supposed to post at 9 o'clock. I'm on this phone, so I can't post, but I already have the post drafted. It's 40 drafted videos in my phone because we shoot 10 to 15 videos a day. Somebody said, well, do you just do media on one day? I said this. Don't Nike do Nike every day? You can't. Nike don't have no. Oh, we're not in the office. Like if you gonna do dogs for those people that are trying to figure out social media and win, I'm telling you right now, every part of the business requires you to be focused on that part of the business. So
Yeah.
if it is a Nike or an Apple, you see an iPhone somewhere every day, even if you ain't seen the commercial. Somebody got this thing, so that's called marketing. Because everybody, their mama got this motherfucker. If
Yeah.
you
You
if
never
you about
let
that dog life, it's dogs every day.
I seen an article. If you bought every brand new iPhone from the day they came out to now, you spent $20,000 on them. If you would have invested the same $20,000 in iPhone, it'd be worth over $2 million.
See what I'm saying? Priorities, perspective is everything. So even in my case, shout out to Chris. I thought about where we need to be 5 years from now. So even when I talked to him about the supplement business stuff we put together, I'm thinking about 5 and 20 year increments and where we need to land. And I know you don't know all the details and stuff, but with loyalty brands, Jackson Hewitt, some people that I'm now connected to, some things we got in the works, bro, is going to expedite every process possible because of all the stuff and a few people around me know I've been doing for like 3 years straight with nobody watching. So y'all think y'all watching this thing, and I've been building relationships, staying consistent, and being, I don't want to say relevant, but even highlighting people like Chris and others for y'all to learn from because I can't do it all. Dumb
Well,
thing
see,
would
what they
be,
don't understand is the ripple effect. All they see is you dropping the pebble. What they don't see is the ripples. For an example, you being on social media way more than I want to be. You know what I mean? So what does that do? That makes other um, other people and other things in life outside of dogs. Say, hey man, I see you have a pretty decent following. I'm into fitness for humans. I have a supplement company. I get my stuff made right here in the USA. Blah blah blah. Just give you an example, and then next thing you know, like he's making your dog supplements for you right here in the USA, all because of being visual on the internet
It,
constantly.
it
Because
matters,
what
man.
people want to be involved with something, they want to be connected to something, and with you being so in your face, honest, and always on the internet, they know that good, bad, or ugly, you're gonna be there.
That's it, bro. I mean, that's the only thing we can do, man. I like that the social media and people though think that this is supposed to be a perfect formula to life. I don't know what motherfuckers be going through in their life, but it ain't no perfect formula to this thing. And if somebody tells you they ain't never had no accident, shit ain't never went wrong, they fucking lying. They are.
Well, it's not even that. Everybody wants to judge someone, but they don't never realize that, hey, I'm a fuck up too. You know what I mean? Bro,
John chapter 8. He who is
I
without
don't,
sin cast the first stone, people. Won't be me.
shit,
It won't.
won't
It
be
won't.
me.
It won't be me, man. That's why we press play, post, and move the fuck on. Because by the time you seen it, that was 3 weeks ago, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. I make a lot of mistakes. I mean, I'm not ashamed to say it. If I don't learn from my mistakes, now I'm stupid. You know what I mean?
Hey, that's probably one of my favorite Ali quotes, next to a few others. He said, "A man who sees the world at 60 the same way saw it at 30 didn't see a thing, didn't learn nothing." You say, damn, brother, you still thinking the same way? 6 words that kill businesses and opportunity. We've always done it this way. That's another thing. So, Chris, even with you, being uncomfortable at times and getting on these lives, I appreciate you because I know it's uncomfortable. And I've been on lives literally all day today, along with a bunch of other stuff we did. But I know that people get a lot from our interaction. Even more importantly, I know how uncomfortable it makes you. But I think, like I told you before, I think they need to know who you are. I think you got something to value.
Well, I told Gina, and now that, a lot of people didn't know, but I disappeared for 2 months because I went back to work trying to
Yeah.
finish off my federal time. And let me rephrase that. I say federal time. Like
Yeah, he didn't go.
I didn't go sit down somewhere now. I I was in the service for a long time, and I'm just trying to finish out my time so I can get my 20 years.
Yeah.
So I went back to work, and I work at the post office. But anyway, I dialed it back for a little bit. I'm probably going to be working 2 to 3 days a week now instead of 6 days a week. That's 6 days a week shit. Fuck. Salute to all the postmen. God damn, 6 days a week.
Hey, Mister. Yeah, no.
It was a little much, so I'm gonna dial it back, and that's what I told my wife. It was like I promised her that we would start our own podcast. I mean, we have a channel, obviously, but we don't really be on it like that. But I'm gonna start.
Make sure whatever you're doing, though, Chris, kind of like we talked about too, is that you believe it's got to be done, man. So you already know how we work and we operate. When I go see Chris, I mean, I literally leave him with 100 gigs worth of stuff because I didn't wrote out everything we need to do. It's 20 videos for the day, phone versions of this shit. So I would tell you guys, and I know Chris actually has a lot to share. I love his perspective. I love you're not boxed in and bottlenecked. So if you were here, you'd be one who would be a regular on my show, unmotivated, because when we talk about life or the losses and the lessons and the ass whooping and the money and the broke, the rich, the children, everything, we could tie dogs in. We could tie our own poor choices, our biggest losses, what we learn from them things. And I would just tell you the same thing as I told them. Hey, why do you still create a dog podcast? I said, that's a short conversation. I said, because dogs don't make up my life. When you do have kids and you do have lessons and dogs are a part of it, they're a factor, but they're not going to be what gets us to those big contracts that other people might be on. If we just talk dog, it's just not going to happen. I don't care what people think. It's like it ain't that many people that in the world want to hear about the same shit to a dog. But let's talk about what that dog did to me. What I had to get rid of my dog because I didn't have no home. Somebody had to watch him or some shit like that. So you say let's talk about being lost. Or the one topic I'm gonna drop probably the next day or so is when is the time right? I start buying dogs and didn't have a home and move every dog around for 15 years almost. And even now, this is the first time in 15 years I got a house where I can you hear the peace and quiet and nobody here, but it's dogs everywhere.
Yeah.
That's the first time in a long time a nigga had a place to call home and actually do some work with no distractions.
Yeah. I mean, that's just honesty, and a lot of people they live in the screen instead of behind the screen. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just weird. Like I know the reality is, I mean, I couldn't do all the dogs, my kids, soccer games, being a husband, cooking dinners, and be on everybody's. Oh, Chris, can you come on my podcast? Chris, can you do this? Listen, my man, I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm going to be rude. I'm just going to disappear. And that's kind of what I did. I disappeared for a while, and it wasn't trying to be rude, but who do I pick to say, yeah, I'll be on yours? You know what I mean?
You got to pick the areas where you can grow. People know by now. There's 3 to 4 people I talk to regularly on when it comes to this stuff, and that's all it's gonna be. Unless I personally come and see value with my own 2 good eyes, it's been you, it's been Ruben. Saeed is a good dude who has the
Daddy.
Rottweilers, and then Richard DeBerry. Outside of that, I like
Oh,
Sin
come
City Pitch.
on. Don't forget my boy Taddy.
Oh, well, Taddy is not on the podcast though, man.
Oh, all right,
I'm
all right.
saying, I'm saying when we do live stuff and I come to like Taddy's the guy, but when it's like y'all, Chris Sin City Pitts and some others, y'all is the only ones I want to talk to because you have perspective, you have vision, you have clarity. 2 words I
When I
live
come
by:
back
clarity and
down,
impact.
next time I come down, I'll get Taddy to do an interview for us. Like sit down and have dinner with us and talk.
And I get him to do that. Ain't an issue. You text me today. Can you text me pictures of the dogs and pup? I see it. We go up there every Tuesday now. I said, look, I finalized the online pharmacy stuff. So I said, look, Tuesdays we go and y'all see an episode drop every week at least. Tuesday for 2 hours, we go up and shoot and work with Tad Locke. We just had him. He answered the phone when I called him when I called him at 3 o'clock the other morning, like, yo, this bitch is about to have these pups. He said, I just answered and went, but he texted me right back, like, hey, she's coming. He said, fuck, I'll have everybody there by 7. So he's he's one that I said, with his he's gonna be one we gonna build out. We gonna build out, man, because he's I think gonna be special to the world.
Oh, I know it. I knew it the very first time I met him. I'm gonna tell you my very first reaction with Tadlock. He had just started there at Hooves. That's where he was working prior to his new clinic.
Oh yeah,
He said, he says to me, "This is our first interaction." Yo, I never met. I mean, I met him, but it wasn't like we were best, like we is now. You know what I mean? Like that's my man. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
He was like, "Hey man, I forgot my wallet at home. You mind if I borrow like $10?" I get it, motherfucker, my whole wallet. Like, here, we're busy. Here, take my wallet. Give whatever you want. I literally gave that motherfucker my whole wallet or my credit card. I don't remember what it was. Here, man. He was
Yeah,
like,
that'll
here,
that'll
bro. Like,
that'll throw him off, man. I'll bring him bottles of whiskey different times. Like, yo, they just whiskey just drop here. Take this back. Go ahead, enjoy yourself. Let me know your thoughts, man. He
oh,
he's been a blast,
he's an
man. That's what.
avid drinker. I'll tell you that.
Hey, look, we had them talks too, man. Chris, listen, we hit the hour mark, man. You killed it as always. We got to jump on here at least, once every so many weeks, especially if you're
All
gonna
right.
have some more time. Whenever you're doing your stuff, as always, man, you need my help. I'm right here, gonna always be right here. People find you. So we said you find a mentor before you buy a dog. Don't call either one of us because I don't got that kind of time on my hands, and I have no interest in it. To be clear, but I do hope that everyone takes heed to the information because it's free information. It's free perspective. There's no lies. I'm not telling you it's easy. I wouldn't tell you that it's worth it. I would tell you if it's a passion play and you have a bigger picture, which we have, then it might work out. That's all faith is. Faith without works is dead. All faith is me praying to God, it all works out. And get this, all the work you could do could amount to nothing, but you still got to believe that it might just work out. Like that's all I'm doing is
I
rolling the
mean,
dice every
all
day.
we're doing is giving you a lot of things that people don't understand that you can't read in the book when it comes to breeding dogs is how did it work for you? That's it. I mean, the best way I explain it to somebody like a skinny kid that's never been to the gym, he don't go to the gym one day and look like Trevor.
No, no.
So I mean, that's a lifestyle. That's a way of life. So your dog day in and day out. So someone who has 2 dogs is going to try to tell me how to breed dogs. All right, well, good job, buddy. You got 2 dumbbells and you're still a puny little kid. I mean,
I
that's
know
kind of.
that.
I mean,
I,
shit. Don't get me wrong. I'm a fat ass, but at the end of the day, the thing is I'm not going to take advice on how to be, in shape from somebody who's obese.
Well, even the stuff that we've highlighted, Chris, over the years that we've been putting content out together is you've always been candid, honest, and upfront about some of those losses you've taken,
Yeah.
and what those been like, boxing yourself in the corner with some of the heart problems before having to start over. Like the beauty about that's why I think it's important to talk to people like you and others because where you see the rainbows and the roses and the dollar bills and the stacks of cash, you go, I don't know where they get it from. And I assure you, I'm way better at planning in terms of business. I'm not great at hustling a motherfucker because I like the truth. But I know for a fact what we're doing will weather the storm because when you do want to get into it, the right way is to pace yourself. As somebody reached out the other day and said, I was watching you and Chris's video, and he said, buy if you had all the money in the world to buy, a good dog, a good female, would you buy two or would you buy one? I would go with the one important one valuable one, and pour into her, and then make magic.
Yeah.
So they're you guys are tuned in and work and learning, and that's why I sit down and try to talk to people like him because I know he's gonna give us the whole truth. And likewise, from our losses to our gains to the opportunities to the mishaps, press play post. I ain't gonna be here long enough to be judged by nobody. Anyway, by the time we play, his whole fucking life is over. And being caught up in what people think of me, it's a waste of time, man.
The only person I care, the only people I care what they think of me is my kids. You know what I mean? Am I a good dad and I'm not necessarily a good dad or bad dad, but am I too hard on them or too soft on them? Shit like that's the only thing I care about. Like, I'm gonna say shit that I shouldn't every now and then because you let your emotions get the best of you. But same thing with dogs, like fucking little asshole. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm like this. I'm in the same boat, brothers. These motherfuckers be wearing me out. But God, my man, please get some rest, man. We'll jump back on here sometime next week. Guys, as always, take care of your dogs. Follow Chris on all platforms. Bulky Built. Is it Bulky _built or is it Bulky Built?
I don't fucking know.
See what I'm saying? Dude don't even know his shit, man.
Listen,
Until next time, people.
Chris, I know Gina. She got that shit called. It's like www.chrisandgina.com.
There you go. And that probably has all your profiles and stuff.
I hope so.
All right, man. Look, y'all have a good night. All right, Chris, man. I'll talk to you, boss.
All right.
Peace.